Okay, so this video's purpose is to explain page 2 from the exam, from test 3 that was taken in class on Wednesday. Let's take a look at the question here. Basically, you're writing a program that's going to ask the user for numbers, and you're going to find a min, max, and average. Okay, so you should have noticed the first thing was this function that you needed to fill out. Okay, this is global data. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and copy this into my source code, and I just want to remind you that we've actually done this exact problem before quite a few times. Let me go to int data. Okay, so ask for a number. Okay, so we're going to have to ask them for some number, and we're going to return that number, right? So at the very least, at the very least, and I'm going to go through this process kind of iteratively, you need to say printf, please enter a number. Remember, we have a printf scanf pair. So that's at the very least, right? So you declare num, which is local. You ask them to type something in, and you return it. However, there's the added twist that we have a maximum value. So what we're going to do is we're going to say from 1 to, oops, 1 to that value, right? We'll say max value. Now, the program talks about a couple of things. It talks about in one place we're going to limit them to 100, right? Because we have this data here. In another place we're going to limit them to 123. That's why we're creating this reusable function that we can reuse in both cases. Okay. We've done this in class, remember? I explained it. That's why we have class, so you remember this stuff. Now, so this is good. Now there's one more thing we've got to do here. And that's to just make sure that they exhibit or they observe that constraint, right? We have to make sure that they're going to stay in that range. Oops. Less than 1, can't be less than 1. Greater than max value. And what this is going to do, it's going to make sure that the number they type in isn't less than 1, and the number they type in isn't greater than max value. So this is a reusable function, right, that we can use. Now let's go on down to the rest of the program. Okay, we have some variables that I declared. Just going to throw these in. These are local variables, right? And this is a global variable. There's a difference. And I'm going to explain that a bit more in the next couple of weeks, the difference between those two. I've explained it a little bit, but the next couple of weeks we talk about data structures and pointers. So we actually do a lot with regards to that. Okay, now I'm going to leave a little space, okay, because I'm going to have to end up declaring more stuff. Okay, so first ask how many numbers. So this is the easiest part of the test. How many numbers equals, what was that called? Ask for a number, 100. Now optionally, you could say printf, you will need to indicate how many numbers will be entered. So that's optional. You can have that, but you won't lose any points on your test if you don't have that. Okay, So this was the see, now we're using this pre-built reusable function that's got all the really good stuff built into it. And we don't have to do that again here. Okay? Let's go back here. Now loop through asking the user. Okay. Oops. Make sure I have these lined up. I'm a real stickler, by the way, in case you haven't noticed, for lining things up. It's just super important, because that way when something goes wrong, you'll much more easily be able to debug it. For I equals 0, right? Now the reason we don't start at 1 is because we're going to put values into an array. And remember, arrays are 0 based and not 1 based. For I equals 1, I less than how many numbers, I plus plus, okay? So you at the very least, you should have that. Now we're going to say, and what are we putting it into? We're going to put it into data, right? So we're going to say data sub I equals ask user for a number, and this time our constraint is going to be 123, right? Up here our constraint was 100 because we have 100 in the data array. All right, so now that's good. Now we don't have a min, max, average, and total variable, so I'm going to go up to, and I think your test might have been a little scrunched, but somewhere you need to have these declared. And I realize it's your test was kind of scrunched. So if, oh gosh, I forgot. I'm sorry. I almost flunked my own test. Right, set that to a large value and set that to a small value or a very negative value, right? If data sub I is greater than max, max equals data sub I. And we've done this in class a lot. If data sub I is less than min, min equals data sub I. And the last thing, we're going to say total plus equals data sub I. Okay. Now we're not going to calculate the average here. Right? What we want to do is make sure that we've totaled all the numbers first. So going here, the last thing just about is calculate the average for the numbers that were added. Okay. So we're going to say AVG equals total divided by how many numbers, right? And display all this stuff. Okay. So we just do a printf. We'll say min equals %d, max equals %d, AVG equals %d, min, max, AVG. Now let's go ahead and make sure it compiles, that I didn't make any kind of typos of any kind. And we'll go ahead and run it. Okay, how many numbers? I'm going to make this easy since there you go. And that's the answer. And if you got anywhere close to this, hopefully you got a really good grade. And the TAs have the grading key, so they should be grading it according to this.